Shalom Israel, Islam, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Black African Power, peace to the gods and nerves. It's your boy Jesus DiCaprio coming back at you once again with another intellectual build. Sorry about the late start. Right now we got a few of the brothers just building, a few of the Kemetian brothers, brothers who subscribe to the Kemetian school of thought, and we're just going and building. I was just building with the brother about some intellectual intellectually about some very uh, popularized ideas. So without further ado, I'm gonna let the brother continue and pick up where he left off. Go ahead, my brother.
Oh yeah, man. I was just I was looking for that I think it may be Deuteronomy 34 1 through 7 maybe. Let me
All right,
see. Let me see if I can find it, man.
all right. Well, while you looking for that, you mentioned something about African spirituality.
No, I was just saying that you know African spirituality was anything African was demonized by colonizers and enslavers. So, you know, we turn our nose up as black folks to everything that our ancestors did, mistakenly. It's really disrespectful, man, for us to do that because, basically what you're saying is that what we had going for ourselves from a spiritual standpoint wasn't enough. It took the white people to introduce to us a real doctrine because that's really what happened because we weren't practicing nothing out the Torah, nothing out the Bible until white folks came and grabbed us. Now, when they came and grabbed us, what the stuff that you're teaching right now is the stuff that they had. Whether they was teaching it wrong or they were teaching it right, that's what they had. We didn't have it. Your great great grandmother didn't have it. Your great great grandfather didn't have it until we got introduced to white folks. So basically, what you're saying, in a nutshell, what you're saying is that it's a blessing that we got enslaved. You know.
All right, now let me respond. You said first. I want to respond to. I want to give you a response to that statement you made about spirituality. Uh, Today, would you first? I'm gonna start with the last question first. I'm gonna start with the last question first. Before we came over here, we had the Torah, we had the Bible. What a lot of brothers and sisters don't understand that they made the claim that the European gave us the Bible, and I gave this challenge to the brother K Money as well on 3 different occasions, and he's yet to prove it that the European gave us the Bible. Now, well, no, that the European, excuse me, let me correct that. That the European wrote the Bible. That the Bible is for the European and by the European. And he failed, and nobody has to this day went in the Bible and pointed to one single verse where the Europeans are uplifted as something positive. Not one. And then to answer your first question about to respond to that first statement you made about spirituality. When you say spirituality, I want to comment on that with a question. What do you mean when you say spirituality? Are you talking to
Well,
spiritual? Are you talking to spirituality that, for a sense, that the Haitians would call voodoo?
that's right. Yeah, that's what I would call it. I wouldn't call it necessarily a religion because it's the same way when you ask a Hebrew, are you practicing religion? They say no, it's just our culture or it's our birthright because it's part of their culture. And that stuff, those spiritualities, for lack of a better term, is I would even call it a religion. It don't bother me. It's those African spiritualities are a part of their culture. It's a lot of Africans on the continent that practice, religion. They might be a Christian, but they still practice all of their African spiritual traditions.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, that's
you know,
right. Well, would you say that? Well, why is it that uh our brothers in the Kemetic community, if you subscribe to that form of African spirituality, which they call voodoo, which we know spirit possession takes place within those rituals, why is it that our Kemetian brothers are not acknowledging this form of African spirituality as an indigenous African spiritual system, as opposed to just swinging around unks and cartouches and screaming my eye? How come our brothers seem to say what we deal with as far as biblical text goes is spookism, but not acknowledging earth spirits or the goddess of earth, as in these certain African tribes, and I can show you that, being summoned and entering the body of a person and speaking through and acting through that person? Why is it that these brothers don't acknowledge that? Are they ashamed of that part of African spirituality? Because if you acknowledge Kemet, anybody who really acknowledged Kemet, like I went into the witch doctor, not the witch doctor, I won't call him that, but the Akan priest and king, voodoo priest, he acknowledged that the Neteru were the same as the Bosum, the Loa, and the Orisha. But why are brothers not acknowledging this side of this system? And he even acknowledged that certain spirits will come up to you, will show themselves and manifest and talk to you and tell you to do certain stuff, like his spirit said, initiate someone, and he went and did it. Why are they not acknowledging this side of ancient Kemet?
well, I think what it is that you know, when 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 someone speaking on African spirituality in general, and they speaking on ancient African spirituality like Kemetic spirituality, and then they speak on the Loa, talking about Voodoo in West Africa from the last 400 years or however many years it's been going on there. You know, when they speak, I think when they speak generally because they're trying to make the connection that all of African spiritualities, north, south, east, and west, all have the same sorts of characters and the same sorts of themes. So they just make those generalizations to make it understandable for black people when they're trying to explain to them our spiritualities. Like there are common customs in all spiritualities on the continent, like libations. There's not one African spirituality on the continent, ancient or modern, I guess you could call it, that doesn't pour libations or doesn't do ancestral veneration. All African spiritualities pour libations and do ancestral veneration. They all give props to their ancestors. So put plates at the table for their ancestors. You know, give food, leave food out for their ancestors and that type of stuff from ancient to modern. So there's a lot of similarities. Now is the Loa the same exactly as Anubis? I'm just making an example. No. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might say that just to get you to understand that there's a lot of similarities, but they're not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I
All right.
mean, as far as the spirit and having spirits come into your body or possess you or take control of you, or man, all religions practice that. All religions practice that. All religions will say, I done heard Hebrews say, man, you got a demon on you, or some shit like that. I was raised in the church, so I done seen people catch the Holy Ghost. I done seen, so all religions, spiritualities, they all believe in spirits and in some form spirit possession. So to act like that's something new when you're talking about voodoo, I mean it's you. I mean you really just picking and choosing, you know.
All right, yeah. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up and let them brothers know that that's exactly what they're doing. Because in a sense, these brothers are trying to separate Kemet spirituality, ancient Kemet spirituality, from the indigenous African spirituality that we
Nah,
see as prevalent
they can't
on the
do it.
continent today.
They can't do it. Not nobody that's call themselves African centered. Not nobody or African. You know, some people say Afrocentric, which I don't know what the fuck a Afro. What is Afro? I'm African centered. I'm African centered. When I wake up and I think about the issues that black people deal with, or I just think about any thought, I think about it from an African perspective first, not a Eurocentric perspective, not a fucking Mexican perspective. I think about it from an African perspective. So if they truly are African centered, they know that Kemetic spirituality and all the rest of the African spiritualities go hand in hand.